It is. All
Oh,
right, guys.
bam.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Here we go, folks. It is that time. NobleGoldInvestment.com. That's NobleGoldInvestment.com. Guys, get serious. Diversify. That's the word. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And if you get a gold IRA and you qualify, Colin's going to give you 2 of these. These are 5 ounces of pure silver coins. They are beautiful. He'll give them to you for free. That's just a blessing for the fact that you are protecting your own wealth and your retirement. Colin, how you doing today?
Gold is money. Everything else is credit. That's the truth.
I mean, even property values are dropping.
I mean, January was the lowest number of residential sales in 40 years, the lowest volume.
40
you need volume. You need transactions. It's so low real estate right now that I've heard realtors and just chat rooms and stuff that they can't even, the banks are confused about how to do the loan because they can't even figure out what the value. There's so few comps because they need comps to determine what if the loan is right. Because they don't want to give too much money on a house, right? They want to protect themselves, but there's so few comps they can't even figure out how much they should loan on, which is another reason that it's difficult right now. Because the banks are being very cautious. They don't want to lend on potential property values that could go down. And I know we've seen it happen, but could property values drop another 15 or 20%? And then people give it back to the banks. So the banks are being very cautious. They're not just freely giving out money.
No. And interest rates are still up. The Fed didn't lower it. Inflation is still hovering. And do you think that the whole Doge situation it's good that they're locating lots of money that's been wasted, but at the same time, is everybody's kind of bracing themselves and saying, what's next?
It's a real drop in the bucket, in my opinion, of what we're really, I mean, they were saying we've saved like 55 billion so far, right? Which seems like a lot of money, right? It seems like a lot, but when you look at our interest payment annually right now is 1.4 trillion. So we're not even getting through our
interest.
Yeah. So we're in a reset environment. That's why gold, that's why this conversation happened. It's like nothing happens on accident with Elon Musk. And I know like this weekend, it seemed like this, like, oh, wait a minute. Like I don't know if you saw the X post, but basically Zero Hedge put an article out talking about Fort Knox.
Yeah.
About having gold.
Yeah.
And also there have been reports over the last 60 days of a mysterious buyer of gold where it's not a central bank. They don't know where it's like a back channel purchasing of gold.
I mean, is it like, could it be China or Russia?
I think initially people thought it was China or Russia, but now people believe it was actually the U.S. government because they were anticipating this audit.
Because there hasn't been an audit of the gold in Fort Knox since 1974.
But that audit was only a 5% audit.
So it wasn't even a true audit. I mean,
it wasn't a true audit. They actually haven't done a full audit in over 50 years.
So are you, you who've been dealing with gold and silver and precious metals all this time, and I know you have you have the gold that people have with you in a secured location.
We're all private storage.
Yeah.
It's all private segregated.
What if this gold in Fort Knox is not there? What does that mean?
That means the dollar is going to fall apart overnight.
So you think it's possible they're out there buying gold like crazy to put it in there?
I think that there's speculation of that. There's definitely the problem is that we would know, but maybe it doesn't matter, but we would know if that's true because the gold that's in Fort Knox is, when we melted down the gold that we had in coins, those coins were 22 karat. They were about 90%. So 90% gold. So the coin, when they melted down, they created these coin bars. They call them coin bars. That's what's in Fort Knox. They're only 90% gold. Nothing that's made today from any mint is that purity. All these things that we sell today, everything on the London Exchange or the COMEX and everything that is all 0.999. It's all 24 karat. So the bars that we have supposedly in Fort Knox would be 10% or more less.
So the value,
right. So if we have 24 karat gold bars in there, that means we just bought them last week. It's kind of like when your daughter's goldfish dies.
That bar you have laying right there.
This one?
No. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, this right one? There. Either one. Yeah. Those are 999, aren't they?
Yeah, these are all 999. Yeah. I think the scenario that could be happening is when your daughter's goldfish dies and before she gets home, you buy another goldfish. That's what the U.S. government might be doing right now. They may be buying some goldfish and putting it in Fort Knox.
That's going to show up somewhere. I mean, if you spend a ton of money to buy the gold to replace the gold that was gone, then where did the money go that bought the gold?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the government's done a good job of hiding money. Obviously, we're seeing that with Doge now. They've been spending money in places that no one ever anticipated. But I think that, it's the idea that we're taking stock of what we have reminds me a lot of an estate sale. I mean, in essence, that's what the government's doing, right? It's like we're getting rid of let's get rid of that old sofa, and then we're going to get rid of mom's old clock. And I mean, we're in a desperate situation as a country, right? I mean, that's really what's happening now, that the credit and the debt we've hit that point where it's gotten to be too much. And if you don't have assets, there's going to be a shift. They have to shift away from the dollar now. I just don't see any other way around it, because there's no scenario that we can pay back the $36 trillion in debt. There's no, even if we keep cutting, even if we got lucky and we cut $1 trillion, it's nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme of how much we own. And that's not even talking about unfunded liabilities. So 36 trillion is just our government debt. It doesn't talk about the stuff that we're going to owe: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all these things that we're short on currently.
Right. Because we have the baby boomers, my age, I'm 63. So here are all of my age are coming up at the same time. It's a lot of people needing Social Security and Medicare.
Absolutely.
And who's going to pay for all that? Even though we've been paying in our whole lives, it don't matter who's working behind us to prop it up, right?
Well, when Social Security was started, it wasn't thought of as a permanent solution. It was thought of as a temporary fix to get people out of the workforce. That's really why they did it. They wanted to get people to retire. So they said, hey, we'll give you this stipend so you retire. Also, the average life was much shorter then.
Yeah.
So they figured, if somebody retires at 65, they may live to 70. So we only got to pay it for 5 or 6 years. Now people are living to 80, 90, 100, longer, God willing. So it's the math for them to have that work for an extra 25 years, doesn't make sense. And I saw today, they found I think $80 billion in mispaid Social Security. Just today came out that they've been paying people over the last 7 or 8 years, people that are deceased.
Yeah, dead people. Right. One guy's 369 years old getting a check. So
but the question is that
who's cashing those?
Who's cashing those checks, right? Who's 369 years old? One guy's
369. There's 3,000 right now that they found. There's over 3,000 people that are 140 years old and older that are collecting checks. 3,000 people.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like Abraham Lincoln maybe is still cashing it.
He may be still collecting.
He's still collecting.
And he maybe deserves it. I mean, I don't know. But
listen, if anybody deserves it, maybe it's him. George Washington, maybe I'd make an exception for. But, we were laughing at how preposterous this is, right? I mean, this is quite ridiculous.
Is this why you think that now that this gold in Fort Knox, and I heard that what Musk wants to do is he said, not just go audit it, but literally walk through with cameras and do a live stream.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
just
people
show
want
the
to see
people
what's there. Yeah.
what's there. So we had two high-ranking Treasury people just resigned. I mean, this number 2 and 3 in line. So is this an anticipation of what else is going to be coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I think, he's only, been going through the books and the channels for, a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a month at this point. So the amount of stuff that we're going to continue to find, and obviously they haven't even really had a chance to go back that far and look at the
No.
data going back. So yeah, I mean, I think ultimately these ideas are going to be great, and we need all of these things to happen. I just wonder if it's too little, too late, because we're not the only ones in this situation. The world is doing this too, and we're all tied into this debt bubble that we've all created.
Colin, is it true the Europeans may even be in worse shape than us? I mean, like France and Belgium and the UK.
It's hard to believe they can be in worse shape than us, frankly. I don't know if that's possible, that anyone's in worse shape than we are financially. But also, you got to think too, like, is it a domino effect with Fort Knox and our economy this year?
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks the stock market's too inflated. So is it, if the audit happens, maybe we don't have as much gold, the dollar loses value. What happens with the stock market? I mean, it's just really everything's coming to fruition now, things that we've always been concerned about. It's like, you and I have been talking for 8 years about, wow, we're just keep going to more debt. Like, is anything going to like when does this house of cards fall apart?
Right.
And it seems like it's now.
Well, you've been preaching it. You've been saying, look, the Great Reset is coming. The Great Reset is coming. And
and the World Economic Forum, they've been talking about, but they've been pushing people into this renting, leasing economy, right? And think about it now, like if you have things that you own outright, how much better of a position you are right now than most of the people that are out there? And that's always fundamentally like with gold and silver, owning the physical. That's why you want to own it, and you don't own a contract. You own the real thing, because you really have something that is unique in the world, that you have an asset that doesn't have any debt behind it, that there's no contract where you own it. It's yours.
Right.
So in this environment, the way things are happening right now, you got to have assets that are going to appreciate and hold value. And you got to be diversified into different things right now, because I think everybody thought some of the traditional assets were going to come back, but real estate's not coming back anytime soon. It does not look good for real estate. And, it's becoming such a difficult situation, and just in terms of the math, right? Like, I know a lot of developers, and they're like, it cost me, 50% more to borrow the money to build a house. Plus the labor has gone up significantly. The lumber, so at one point does it make sense for me to stop building? Because obviously if I got to build a house, there's got to be a buyer at the other end. Well, January is our worst month for residential sales. So why would a builder take that risk in this environment when there's already a lot of houses out there? So those guys are just kind of holding on. They're not going to be looking to build. So there's a lot of tough fundamentals right now in a lot of markets. And so I think people are just looking around and saying, what do I feel good with? What do I feel safe with? And I think that's why, gold broke its all-time high again today.
Yeah, today. Well, I was going to say, I remember it might've been a little over a year ago, gold was right at $2,000 an ounce. I remember you saying it's going to 3,000.
Oh yeah.
And you were right. First you said it's going 2,500. You were right. You said it's going 3,000. It's just right at 3, almost there. And I think that now, are you projecting? I believe you said this last month that gold will get to $5,000 an ounce.
Well, Goldman Sachs, so their prediction with their Yardini research, they came out with this prediction, which is a little, in my opinion, funny. Their prediction is 2026 gold will be between $3,100 and $5,000.
I mean, that's a gigantic.
It's a big listen. I don't have a crystal ball, but I will tell you that it is quite unusual. Bank of America, the same thing. They believe $3,500 an ounce next year. I just don't see it slowing down. And also, we've seen central banks buying gold, over 1,000 tons of gold for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
If central banks said, we're not going to do that next year, they're going to slow down the buying, maybe. But you got to think that part of this underlying price increase is central banks. But now you got the retail market jumping in. Now you have the retail market going, wait a minute, I got to get gold too. And you have investors, family offices, billionaires, Ray Dalio, been talking all about it. Paul Tudor Jones. I mean, these are billionaire investors that are saying, like, minimum, you got to have 10% in gold. These are what these guys are saying right now.
Diversified. Got to.
And
Warren Buffett's pulling all of his money out of the stock market.
Pulling all his money out of the stock market. Yeah. So these are, I think people that are reputable in the world that are saying that, times are changing. And so I think it's really just, you gotta understand what's happening, that we've as a country, we've created so much debt, and now it's going to be very volatile in the markets. The markets are going to be very volatile this year. We're going to see a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and we're going to see some. I mean, we saw it a month ago with the Nvidia down $600 billion in one day.
Wow. Yes,
the biggest collapse of one company in one day. You're going to see that start to happen more and more, and that is always an indicator of a recession and a pullback when you see those massive days up, massive days down, because obviously there's opportunity there. People are going to take advantage of those days, but for the most part, for people that are just sitting in mutual funds and just sitting in the S&P and all those things, they're gonna see some corrections here. They're gonna have some turmoil here.
So the 401ks are going to take a major hit. I'm going to predict 25% of the 401k values will be lost in this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough year for those.
Right.
Also, with all the change, I mean, with Trump, he's going aggressively in a lot of these changes, and I think in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it'll be great. But there's a reason why no other president has done tariffs, because it really does cost people a lot of money in the short term, and it makes things more expensive. Just because you're saying, like, I want to bring manufacturing back here, which I support.
Yes.
But I think that how fast can a company
move a factory? You can't. Right. You need 3 years at least,
Right. And God, I hope willing that we can set that in motion, and then we can keep that going, longer than 3 years. Because obviously when a company wants to start building a factory, and then the advantages are gone, right? I mean, that's the scary thing about it, is from a business point of view, that you have to think, if a big corporation goes, okay, I get it, right now there's tariffs, but it's going to take me 3 years. I'm going to have to move people there. I'm going to have to hire people there. Are you going to guarantee that I'm going to get these tax advantages?
You've got to have tax abatements for 10 years, or you're not even going to think about it.
Right. It's got to be there for a long time for it to make sense for me as a business owner. I mean, just fundamentally. Right. So these are the challenges that he will have to face, is that he will have to put measures in place to give people security to bring their manufacturing back here. So, and in the short term, all these things will make things more expensive.
So this is we're going to go through, would you say, a good 24 months of the painful reset, but has to be done, or we're going to crash and burn.
Oh, it has to be done.
And so Trump is the right guy, and Musk is probably the right guy to have in there to help fix the system, to fine tune it, to clean it up, and turn it around so we can build on a solid foundation. Because if we don't, it's over. We hit the wall. We have hit the wall.
And I heard their idea of
precious metals is one asset that's going to hold the value and go up, where even real estate is falling.
Yeah.
But it'll correct itself, I think. But,
In 2 to 3 years, your home will be worth significantly more than it is today too. So everything is just how long can you hold on for?
Can you hold on? Right.
Right? That's really the beauty behind assets.
Yeah.
You just got to hold on. Everything is just hold on for the ride right now.
Right.
That's what you got to do. And I think also when people are, thinking about what's happening and they're thinking about, I think you really have to look at what's happening in the government right now. There's going to be opportunities because they're going to start privatizing a lot of things that the government typically did. So I do want to say, like, people should be thinking about, as government jobs are laid off or things, that they're going to start outsourcing and going with consultants, and they want, the government's going to look for more flexibility, which is basically what businesses do too. I mean, if you've seen I would say the trends that are happening out there is that people are outsourcing a lot, where maybe they don't need a full-time CFO or they don't need a full-time accountant. So they have these fractional. There is going to be this idea with the government. The government's going to outsource stuff to private companies because they don't want to have employees on the books, and maybe it's seasonal, or maybe they don't need them for 5 years. So I would say there is going to be a lot of opportunities in creating private consulting businesses that are going to replace some of these jobs, because I think that they are probably overcorrecting. They're letting go of some people they probably shouldn't. We saw that happen with the nuclear plant. I mean,
whoops. We better bring some of those.
Yeah,
guys.
we better. Yeah, these. What are they? Oh, they actually put the warheads together. Maybe
we need those guys.
We need those guys. Yeah, those guys are important. But so what I'm saying is that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have some private entities that do some of the jobs that we're looking for. You saw private prisons. Some of the stocks have gone kind of through the roof.
Yep.
So there is some silver linings in some of this opportunity. But I also think with bringing manufacturing back here, silver is going to play a big part. If anyone hasn't gotten my book,
your book's amazing.
You should really read it because it really talks about a lot of the industrial uses. And that's really the reason that, I started this book before Trump got reelected. I started a year and a half ago. But I was always hoping that they were going to bring manufacturing back here. And I talk a lot about that in the book, is that there's sectors that really need silver, that will continue to need silver. And if we're bringing it back here in the U.S., there is going to be a surge in the industrial demand for silver. I think there's going to be an unbelievable opportunity. But it's really about holding on for as long as you can at this point, and diversifying. That's how you get through these time periods. But to answer your question, if the gold's not there, I would say $5,000 gold would happen probably within a few months of that situation.
So in other words, if Fort Knox is basically empty, the price of gold is going to skyrocket.
I don't think there's anyone that would argue opposite of that, because it would, first of all, be like, well, where is it? Who has it?
Who bought it? Who got it? Yeah.
Who got it? Does China have it? Did we sell it to China?
I bet we did.
Did they call in some of their treasury bonds? They've been doing it. That's what they've been doing, is calling in treasury bonds and buying gold. I
don't know this, but when they bought our debt, and they bought lots of our debt, they had to have some collateral. So was the gold the collateral?
Could be, or some real estate. Pastor Paul, I want to talk about this for the next 3 hours, but I actually have another interview because it's so busy right now. It's unbelievable.
I understand. You got to go. I understand. We'll have you back quickly. Okay. We'll get you back quick, because the things are changing that fast.
Everyone knows, call us if they need help. Phones we're back to COVID hours. We're open 6 days a week right now. So
there it is. 877-646-5347. Call Colin, his team. Roll over that 401k. Do it now. Do it now while you still can. Colin,
thanks, Pastor Paul.
I'll see you again.
See you soon.
Thank you. God bless. There he is, folks. This was your moment. Okay. So Colin Plume is telling us, and Elon Musk has said it. Elon is saying, when's the last time anybody walked into Fort Knox to see if the gold is really there? And he announced that, and immediately the number 2 and the number 3 officials in the U.S. government treasury resigned. And I don't know if they were resigned because of that statement or just because they haven't got into the whole thing. Yeah, cash is king. Good to see you, BP Earthwatch. Good to see you and everybody out there. Cash Patel just got confirmed while we were on the air here talking. Colin's got to go because people are calling him like crazy to buy gold. And the reason they are is because they're looking at their 401k. And as I just said, the 401k that every person out there who's been working and has a 401k, I don't have one. But if you do and you're out there, if you can roll it over into some of it even, or let's say if it's a 401k, you probably could roll it all in to gold or silver, or at least some of it, and diversify. Or if you have savings accounts where you could put some of your savings into gold or silver, probably would be a great ideal to do. I don't know, but Colin can help you. They know how to do it very easily and get it for you. And that's all I can say. I'm just pointing you in that direction. Obviously, the property market is going to stagnate, and it may take about 2 years. But then, as you heard Colin say, but within 3 years from now, your property values will go up significantly, maybe as much as 25 to 30% from what they are at this moment. But we got to get through the process of uncovering all the sins that our federal government, and there's no question, and the rats are jumping off the ship like you wouldn't believe, okay? The demo rats and all the rest of the rats, the rhino rats, all of them, they're jumping like crazy because the gravy train is over and it's come to Jesus time. And people are, all this money that was being, if you watched last night I was with Melvin, we went through the list. Elon Musk just announced how many people are drawing Social Security. And it's 29 million dead people are drawing Social Security, and the checks are being cashed. 29 million. There's one person who's 369 years old getting paid a check, and it's being cashed. He's 369 years old. There's over 3,000 people that are over 140 years old collecting checks. So obviously they're going to look that over. They're going to figure out that all these millions of people who are getting paid, that's going to stop. They're going to stop that. But that's just one small area. And I mean it. That's just small compared to all of the money that goes into all of these different bureaucracies and all the bureaucracy people running it. And of course, all the politicians that have been getting sweetheart deals left and right for 50 years. And nobody has audited Fort Knox since 1974. And then there's 15 vaults in Fort Knox, 15 vaults. And these vaults are gigantic. And the last time there was an audit was 1974, and they only audited one vault. Okay. And they audited that one vault, and they said, here's how much gold is in there. So, and the rest of them are the same. So that's it. And no one's been back into audit again. Okay. There's no guarantee that them 15 vaults are full of gold. Matter of fact, I doubt it. We don't know who would have got it. I guess the Chinese, maybe, but Musk is saying we got to open the vaults, and let's walk in with cameras and let's live stream it. We got to walk into the vaults. Is the gold there? If it's not, then we have to ask where it went, and then we got to ask, what do we do now to restructure the whole situation? Folks, if you look at this from a prophecy standpoint, I mean, what they're doing needs to be done, has to be done, because we're $36 trillion in debt. If you look at this from a prophecy standpoint, the technology's there, the restructuring of the whole world's economy is about to happen, which obviously means the whole world could go under a one world currency system, which is what is going to happen according to prophecy. In the book of Revelation, chapter 13, when you start talking about a one world government, a beast kingdom, the Bible calls it a beast kingdom with iron teeth, controlling the people. And that this beast kingdom will have one world leader with a sidekick, a false prophet, and will have 10 kings that will report to this one world leader. And there will be a one world currency and a one world system to manage that currency. and a one world religion. And Christ is not that religion. Jesus Christ will not be the savior of that kingdom. Jesus is the savior, obviously. Jesus is the peacemaker, obviously. Christ is the answer, obviously. But the beast kingdom wants to operate without Christ. The process of that taking place doesn't happen like overnight. It's been happening since World War II, really since 1948, which is right after World War II, after the Holocaust, after Israel was established as a nation. We've been watching for almost 77 years now the slow formation of an entire world headed toward a one world government. You can call it the New World Order, one world government. The Bible calls it the beast and the beast kingdom. And so we're headed there. Now, how long does it take to get there from here to there? 3 years? 7 years? 2 years? 20 more years? You know, in other words, do you see how fast the prophecies are taking place? And the parasites, the crooks, the embezzlers, the collusion that's been going on in Washington, being exposed now, and it will get worse before it gets better, but it will get better. But and BP said it won't take long. It currently costs about 13.8 cents to make a nickel. So which means the cost to produce a nickel is significantly higher than the face value of the 5 cents. So in other words, it takes 4 cents to make a penny now. So it don't make sense to keep making pennies. It don't make sense to keep making nickels if it takes 13.8 cents to make a nickel. So that means our value of our money is not worth what we say it's worth because it costs more to even make it. And then if you look at our debt of $36 trillion, then it don't make sense. The money value that we have. But here's the thing. And I asked Colin this, as you guys just saw me interviewing him. I said, I'm understanding that Europe is even in worse condition than us, especially France, Belgium, Germany, the UK, but the whole European Union, the UK, that's why they got out of that, because they want to at least try to stand on their own 2 feet. But the Europe is in worse shape. And here's why. Because in Europe, if you can retire at age 50 to 55 with full benefits and full insurances and just sit home and drink wine and eat cheese. And they've been doing it since they're in the low 50s, where the Americans have to work till they're 67, 70, and then they retire, and then they can't make enough, so they're working part-time jobs even after they're 70 years old. And now they're paying for more of their own health care, even though they're retired. And the baby boomers are coming along now. I'm 63. I'm one of the last of the baby boomers. And we're all coming of age now. And there's no way to sustain it. So in reality, Europe is in worse condition. And we're in terrible condition. And the corruption is off the charts. And the rest, then you got the third world countries. What kind of shape you think they're in? So the whole world is about to restructure. It's about to happen in the next, I don't know, I'm going to give it to 2 to 3 years in the process of restructuring. And, again, I can't change prophecy. We're going to be talking about this Saturday. We even discussed this in the book. So if you got your ticket for this it's not a webinar, it's a seminar, because I'm the only guy teaching. I'm teaching for 3 hours, and get your ticket. You'll have access. I'll be live from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern with a chat room specially made just for Saturday afternoon at my website. But even if you get the ticket and you can't be there live, don't worry. You can watch it anytime after that, forever, or as long as this server survives. And also, we're not doing all that hard way of getting through the system. We're back to the link system. I just demanded we go back to that, and we're back to that. So we're back to the easy link. So and actually, when you get your ticket, you'll get a link. Okay, you'll get your link. So on all of our webinars going forward. But the seminar is only $25, and it's for 3 hours, and I'm going to teach from my book. So even if you don't have the book, Revelation 9:11, it's okay. You're going to learn a lot. We're going to go through this book. I'm not going to read the whole book, but I'm going to give you all the highlights of it. Plus, I've already prepared a 10-page outline for it, and we'll be going through it to help understand. And if there's people you know that aren't even saved, if you could convince them to get the ticket and watch this Saturday, this will wake up even the person of the unsaved. They're going to realize where they're at, because a lot of times they'll say, I don't know what this means. I don't know what the mark of the beast means. I don't know what, the Antichrist, who is that? I don't know when's Jesus, when's the rapture, when's Armageddon, when's the tribulation, what is the third temple? Why is the cancel culture? How come Marx and communism's important? What do I need to know about Jesus? And all of it, okay, will come into play. So if you got your ticket, guys, let me know you got your ticket. If you don't, go get your ticket, and we'll be ready for Saturday, okay? All right, guys. Tonight, got Mike around the world. Lord only knows what. I'm going to go now spend some time in research. I have a 6:00 meeting I got to go to, and then I'll be back, and I'm going live at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight with Mike from around the world. Expect me to go till midnight. I really think I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we got asteroids coming. They're updating it. They're saying now it's a 3.6% chance we're going to get hit with this asteroid. When I went to the thing and showed you guys the other day, I went and did it with Apophis. Apophis comes closer. The little thing at the bottom, Apophis comes closer than the one that's coming in. And this one that they say could hit us in 2032, but the model shows it closer in 2028. And then we've got Apophis in 2029. And if that first one misses us in 2028, it comes back. And that's where they're saying there's a 3.6% chance. And that's probably going to increase. That it will hit us in 2032. And oh, by the way, Elon Musk's rocket ships are falling out of the sky left and right. Out of control. Pieces of it landed in Poland last night. There's just a lot. And we got alien disclosure. This is the next thing, guys. I'm telling you right now, while this restructuring of the world economics, and it's global, you're also going to see massive movement toward disclosure, because that's how this beast system comes in. This is how the Antichrist comes rolling out. BP says Apophis could enter a gravitational slip when it enters our atmosphere. He's right. You're right, BP. That's why they keep, I think, changing this other one. This other asteroid's called 2024 YR4. And that's why I believe that they're saying it's that we don't know the probability of it hitting us is going up. It's because you got to factor in the gravitational pull. And what is Nibiru doing? I mean, what is Planet X, Nibiru, planet number 9, the dwarf star? Call it, binary system. Mike likes to use that term. Call it whatever you want, but that's pull. There's a gravitational pull going on. And if something gets too close, it could just get sucked in almost. Okay. So, and what about Apollyon to be released? That's why we're going to talk about this Saturday, because I'm telling you right now, CERN is involved in this. And did you see, BP, that France fired up it's not their CERN, but they're one of their hydrogen colliders, and they cranked that thing up the highest they've ever cranked it and left it on as long as they've ever left it. France just did that. So, yeah. Wow. It's getting crazy. All right, guys, I'll be back. Thank you guys for dropping in, and I'll be back. Okay. Wow. We're running out of time, and tonight will be incredible. Tonight will be an incredible broadcast, an incredible broadcast, and just don't miss it. Okay. and tell somebody about Jesus because we're running out of time.